In this video, I 100%ed Schedule 1, starting from humble beginnings dealing one product at a time all the way to the conquering of Hyland Point, pushing bricks daily, and overthrowing the Benzie cartel. Welcome to Schedule 1. So we woke up in an RV on a ranch, we picked our weed and went to deal it out. As soon as we got out of the RV, we talked to Uncle Nelson and essentially he told us to pick up some supplies while we go out to town and deal our product. On the way to town, I crashed the damn truck and fell through the map. This is an amazing start to the game, isn't it? Okay, take two. We walked the remainder of the distance into town and we dealed out our product. Customer Doug referred us to another lady whose name was Chelsea, so we went to give Chelsea a free sample and she enjoyed it, which means that we can now sell to her. I went to the hardware store, bought 2 soil from the kind man at the front, and as soon as I came out of there, I got ambushed by the police. I got searched, but they found nothing, although he did tell me that he suspects that Uncle Nelson and I are up to something on the ranch. So he threatened us, which is not good, kind of a nice foreshadowing for what's to come.
Oh, shiver my timbers!
We went to talk to Uncle Nelson's contacts at the motel, and after a bit of arguing, we got weed seeds and pseudo from the dealers. While on my way back, I somehow managed to get the truck unstuck and I drove back to the ranch. Once we got back, we planted the weed and went to sleep. Now we were unexpectedly woken up in the middle of the night with the police at our door. So we took the RV and drove far away as fast as we could, leaving Uncle Nelson behind and completing the prologue of the game, thus giving us our first achievement. We landed at a town, Hyland Point. This is where the entire game takes place, with various different districts, customers, and dealers that we can acquire to build up our kingdom. I picked up everything from the RV and went to talk to Uncle Nelson at the payphone. Uncle Nelly tells us how he used to live here a while back and it's a very nice place, and he stashed some cash for us to pick up and get back on our feet. So I went to go pick up all the cash, and while heading back, this is what happened. Yes, the RV exploded, giving us our second achievement. Anyways, I talked to Nelson again and he told us that the local cartel blew our up, so we have to go rent a motel room for now, sadly. I got myself a motel room. I fully set it up with the resources from the RV. I went to go buy some soil. I started growing a little bit of weed, and once I had a couple of customers that wanted some product, I scheduled the dealings for late night due to the bonus that you get if you deal after the curfew. I trimmed and grew more weed while waiting for nighttime and went to deliver to 3 different customers, and in the night I made $235. Not too bad, not too bad. While dealing, I accidentally punched my client and he chased my ass down, calling me a mother. Now at this time, police curfew started, meaning I can't be caught outside, and if any cop does see me, I'm gonna get arrested. So, to pass the time, I went to sleep. The next day, Uncle Nelson called us and told us that the best way to get customers is to give people free samples, and that once we make enough money, we can expand to a cheap room above a Chinese restaurant for $800. So, I got to giving away free samples. I unlocked Peter, Donna, Peggy, Geraldine, and Ludwig as customers. I bought some baggies, bagged up more OG Kush, scheduled all my deliveries for nighttime to get that sweet bonus. I unlocked Miss Ming and Chloe as customers throughout the day, paid back my loan to the supplier by placing cash behind the supply store, did all the deliveries, and somehow the very last customer glitched out, so that was that. I beat up some old guy for no particular reason. I found Hector's wheelchair on top of a building.
Look at me, Hector.
And I ordered more seeds from the supplier, and then I went to sleep. I went to pick up the seeds dead drop immediately and paid off the supplier. I talked to Miss Ming and purchased the new house above the Chinese restaurant, thus expanding our area for growth. And so I moved my operations to the new house. I sowed more seeds and went to talk to Nelson at the payphone. Uncle Nelson tells us the process of hiring a dealer and how we first have to reach friendly status with his buddies to unlock the dealer. I bought baggies, went to package product, and once again scheduled deliveries for nighttime. Get used to this because this is the core loop of the gameplay. Anyways though, I started delivering and unlocked Benji the dealer. I talked to Benji, hired him for $500 and gave him a little product to sell for the time being, thus giving us our 3rd achievement of the game. I finished dealing and assigned some clients for Benji. I trimmed, replanted, packaged products, and I went to sleep. With this being finished, I unlocked a new region that is full of brand new customers and one more dealer that we can can unlock down the road, that being Westville. Once again, I talked to Nelson at the payphone, and he called me up to tell me that we should buy a mixing station and that we should also buy more expensive weed. So I got a mixing station, bought paracetamol and cuke in a gas station, and mixed that with my weed. Once again, I went to talk to Uncle Nelson at the payphone, and he told us that we're big boys now and we have finished the unofficial tutorial of the game. Now, even though we did make one strain of mixed weed, I won't really be mixing as much at the very start of the game. Frankly, it's not worth to spend the time doing all of this, and the best strategy to make the most money in XP is to just use the most expensive weed that we have access to and sell as much of that as possible. Anyways though, I resupplied Benji, talked to the dealership man, the mechanic, and the real estate agent. These are three very important people that we will also become quite familiar with down the road. I did my deliveries, I mixed a strain worth at least $65 to complete a little side mission, and now our only goal is to grind cash. During this time, I smoked my own strain, and this put me right out, so I went to sleep. Starting now, I won't even mention in the video every time I grow and package products, as we will just assume I'm always doing this. This is the core loop of the game. It's just growing, packaging, selling, growing, packaging, selling. So I continued to grow and sell lots of OG Kush. I bought a soil pourer and sprinkler which automates two parts of the growing, the soil and the water. I resupplied Benji and went to hunt for new customers. I unlocked Joyce, Beth, and Meg. I kept grinding for money, doing the basics, growing, packaging, delivering, and resupplying dealers. I picked up my dead drop, planted flower, and went to sleep. Once again, we're still doing the basics just to get cash. I unlocked Keith, and while trying to unlock a new client, I got noticed by the police and got chased down. Fortunately, I outpaced them. I was very fast, and after my wanted level went down, I unlocked customers Jerry, Kim, and Dean. I did more deliveries, got chased by the police, harvested and replanted and packaged my weed, and then I went to sleep. After we went to sleep, we unlocked the Granddaddy Purple Seed, which is the most expensive weed, so we will be switching to selling that instead of OG Kush. I ordered Granddaddy Purple Seeds, which cost us $15 more, but at the end of the day, we make more money, so we will only be selling this strain. I bought a golden skateboard for $1,500, which is apparently the fastest vehicle in the game, thus giving us our fourth achievement. And once I finally earned 10k in cash, I talked to Nelson and he wanted us to start making meth. We were granted supreme knowledge that we can now soon enter the warehouse where we can find weapons, equipment, and also hire workers. But we still had too low street cred, so I needed to level up by doing the basics such as dealing, growing product, as right now we're still too small of a fish in this pond. While dealing, I ran into one of my customers that has a friend named Shirley, who is the pseudoephedrine dealer that we're going to need for methamphetamine, and so I got her number. I leveled up to Hoodlum 5 and unlocked a new packaging station and the warehouse. Instead of manually having to do everything by hand, we can now just spin a rotator that automatically packages everything for us. This was a ton of help. At this point, I also unlocked the warehouse, but I could only enter it after 6 p.m. So I bought the newer packing station, electric scissors, and got to growing more Granddaddy Purple. While out dealing, I unlocked Molly as a dealer, but I can't hire her yet as I need $1,000. I went to check out the warehouse after completing all the deals. I talked to the arms dealer, the fixer, and the merchant. Uncle Nelson told us that the merchant will tell us how to make meth. But disregarding all of this right now, my operations were still way too small to even consider going up to such hard substances. I only really have 2 grow pots, so before we even think of any of that, we should probably expand and grow more Granddaddy Purple and make more profit. I went to sleep, leveled up, and unlocked the energy drink. I kept on doing the basics, grinding money, setting up deals, stacking up on bags, growing product, and in this time, I went to the real estate guy and bought the Stash and Dash storage unit, which is a new house to expand our operations. While horsing around, I glitched onto the bridge by doing the bus stop jump glitch. If any of you played this game, you'll know exactly what this is, so that was cool. I got on top of the whole map. I kept on doing more deliveries for money. I bought a bunch of weed growth items from the warehouse merchant Oscar, and then I also became real tight with the weed supplier, so I can just now order large quantities in person if I need to. I set up the new storage house that we bought to produce more weed. I bought a trash grabber, 2 lockers, and this grabber allows us to easily remove trash and lockers for storage within the warehouse. I delivered 50 grams of weed and made like $3,000 in one day. This was a crazy profit for us. Little do I know how much money I'm gonna make in the future. I kept on farming money, doing the basics. I got chased by cops while dealing. I paid Molly and hired her as a dealer for $1,000. I went to sleep, leveled up, did more basic things like growing and dealing, unlocked customers Charles and George, went out dealing, collected the dealer money, resupplied them, bought more weed seeds. Now this is where we ran into a little dilemma. When we want to buy legitimate products like soil and purchase properties, we have to buy it with bank balance, but we only get paid in cash. So far, we've just been putting money into the ATM, but the ATM has a $10,000 per week limit. And unfortunately, I reached this limit very quickly. So once I did, Uncle Nelson called me and told me about money laundering and how we can buy businesses to convert more cash into our bank balance. So keep this in mind. We can now buy businesses that launder our money and turn cash into usable bank balance. I sowed the remainder of my seeds and went to sleep. Doing the basics, I packaged up and scheduled the deliveries for night. Throughout this time, I was saving up 6K for the bungalow so we can start producing meth there. I increased the asking price of Granddaddy Purple by 50% from $44 to around $65, as this is something I read online that you should always just increase the minimum value of your product. I dealt more of the weed, bought 2 more moisture pots to min-max my growth operations. I sowed seeds, optimized dealers, went to sleep, and I leveled up. Upon waking up, the ATM weekly limit reset, so I put in as much cash as I could. I went to purchase the bungalow, I went out dealing, and then later purchased everything I need to start making meth from Oscar at the warehouse. I messaged and ordered some pseudo, fully set up in the bungalow, and went to sleep. I picked up the pseudo dead drop and started making meth. This takes around 8 minutes to make liquid, so while I was waiting, I went to upkeep my weed farm, and I just kept on going back and forth between these two. While chilling, I spotted a geeking NPC. Now cooking the meth takes 6 minutes, so once again I got that going, and I did some deliveries in the meanwhile. I bought another chemistry station and lab oven to make more meth, and while on the way back to the bungalow, I just straight up airdropped myself. I did not walk. Too lazy to walk, so I came in from the sky. I made and packaged meth, went to sleep, and I leveled up. I kept on farming money as always, and now once we got the meth operation set up, I wanted to mix it so I can upcharge it like crazy. I ordered a bunch of materials off of GasMart to be delivered to my bungalow. I bought mixing stations Mark II, went out dealing, and I started making and manufacturing the craziest meth mix for max profit. Here we unlocked an achievement where we needed to manufacture a product worth at least $100. I ordered more phosphorus and acid to the bungalow, made our magnum opus meth, and started selling it for $387 a pop. And then I went to sleep. I resupplied weed, I put my meth up for sale, but no one was buying it. Frankly, I think my customers are too broke for it right now, so it may just make more sense to keep on selling weed until we level up. At this point, I was saving up to buy a business as we really need to launder money. We make quite a lot of cash, but we can only put 10K per week into the ATM, which is frankly not enough. I unlocked customer Elizabeth, went to sleep, and leveled up, thus unlocking a new location, downtown. Once again, a bunch more customers and 1 more dealer. I dealed the entire next day, got a chemist for 1,500 signing fee and 300 per day that automates our meth lab, assigned the chemist to our lab, and then went to sleep. I unlocked customer Lucy, Philip, Jeff, Randy, and Kevin. I became tight with the pseudo plug, and then she told us that we can just meet her in person if we need to. I kept on doing deliveries, making more money, I went to sleep, and then I leveled up. Once again, I kept on doing the basics and making money. I was waiting for the ATM to reset so we can buy the business and start laundering more money, thus giving us more cash in our bank balance. Now here is where I got pissed, because I still wasn't able to buy the business, and every store only accepts card money, so I couldn't really restock certain things, and my ATM was maxed out, so I just had to wait. I purchased a few jars from the warehouse merchant in cash, as he's the only guy who takes cash, and these jars are kind of like the previous baggies, but instead of storing 1 product, we can store 5 of each product in a jar, which, if you do the math, allows us to hold on to 5 times more product. While dealing, one of the customers recommended Brad as a new dealer, so we will contact him soon. I hired Brad for 2,000, sowed seeds, and went to sleep. Upon waking up, the ATM refreshed. I maxed it out immediately and bought the post office business. We can now launder up to 4K every single day. Now, we could have also bought the cheaper laundromat, but I didn't really want to because we had more money and I'd rather just kind of buy it down the road. I unlocked customer Greg and Eugene and kept on doing the basics for money. I went to sleep, leveled up, and unlocked higher level pseudo. 4K finished laundering the previous day and got sent straight to our account, and here I purchased the laundromat for 4,000, which can launder an extra 2K per day. So now we can launder 6,000 per day. I put all the money to launder and now I only have $10 to my name. I pulled up on dealer Brad and knocked him out because he wasn't dealing. So I searched this up online and this is what people said to do. Just knock out your dealers, reset the game, and they should start working. So I guess that kind of makes sense, but you know, poor Brad. Anyways though, I went to sleep, ordered materials for our crazy good meth production, packed up more weed, put them into jars, which exponentially increased our storage, kept on making OP meth, and then I went to sleep. I kept making more OP meth, bought the so-called higher quality pseudo, and now we only sell meth. It doesn't really make sense to sell weed anymore. Our customers can afford the meth. We make more profit, it's much easier, we can produce more of it, send out less of it, it's better in every single way. I went to sleep, kept making the OP meth, ordering supplies and mixing. I smoked meth and that was awesome, did some deliveries while totally messed up, and then I went to sleep. I kept making my OP meth, went out to deal the new meth, bought a second mixing station to make meth faster, went to sleep, leveled up, kept doing the basics by making meth, mixing, ordering materials, and so on. Here we attained a net worth of $100,000. At this point, things are ramping up. We are significantly making more and more money as each day goes on. I went out dealing, got another mixing station, went to sleep, kept making meth, ATM reset, I put cash in, back to meth, went out dealing. Once I came back, I did the calculations and we actually have over $120,000 worth of meth if we sold all of it, which exponentially increases our net worth. And then I went to sleep. This is going to be a very repeating pattern, so I'll get through it fast. I kept on farming meth, I went out dealing, went to sleep, and leveled up to Bagman 1. Kept on cooking meth, bought more pseudo, did all the same things over and over again, and amassed over $250,000 worth of sellable meth in just a couple of days. I got the dealers to only sell that OP crystal, ordered more acid and phosphorus to make even more of that, kept dealing, and went to sleep. I bought more pseudo and just waited for nighttime so I could deliver product. I started selling Granddaddy Purple again to reach the cheaper customers and get a little bit more XP throughout the day. Then I went to sleep and leveled up. At this point, I'm saving up for a new barn, which is our new warehouse, which costs $25,000. While doing random things, I glitched into the casino, went gambling, and lost $1,000. After selling the Granddaddy Purple, I came back to my original idea. I just don't think it really makes sense to sell it, so instead I just gave it out to dealers. Once again, I went dealing, went to sleep, I kept on making meth, delivering product, and at this point, we're making around $10,000 per day. I mean, I never thought I'd get here. And after my celebration, I went to sleep. Kept on doing the same things. Went to sleep, leveled up to Bagman 3, went out to buy more storage lockers to add more space for our product. Now, storage lockers aren't really the best storage lockers. That's kind of a very misleading name, which I'll come to find out later, but hey, you probably would have done the same thing. I kept on farming money, waiting for nighttime to deliver the products, kept on dealing, went to sleep, and this is where I realized that we can just sell to people during the day, and that gives us hella XP, so that's what I did. I then unlocked customer Doris and Lewis, kept on making that crystal, went out dealing, and went to sleep. Once again, I was out selling for XP. I beat up a dealer again because he wasn't selling, and I kept selling again, which leveled us up to Bagman 4. I kept on making crystal, and then when I sold weed to a customer, I did a very sly activity. I sold it to him, I went behind his back, and I pickpocketed the weed back, giving us our next 7th achievement. But back to the ordinary, kept on making product, beat up a dealer because he wasn't selling, I kept on laundering money, I went to sleep, and I leveled up to Bagman 5, unlocking the brick press and the highest level pseudo. I went out to buy the barn, which was a new larger operations facility, and a car wash to launder more money. I bought the high grade pseudo, set up the barn a little bit, went out dealing, bought more items for the barn, barn, hired a handler and chemist for the barn, and then I cleared out a bunch of items from the bungalow and transferred them to the barn. And then I went to sleep. I went out dealing, picked up more items from the bungalow, set up the barn with items, went dealing out again, bought 2 more mixing stations and got 1 more handler. I went to sleep, leveled up to Enforcer 1, unlocked the docks region, went out dealing, unlocked customer Lisa, Cranky Frank, Marco, and Genghis. Hired 2 chemists, hired 2 more handlers, went out dealing, set up the barn fully, and went to sleep. Now we are making meth in the barn with literally quadruple the efficiency. The handlers bugged out and were not working, so I beat the shit out of them. I went dealing, went to sleep, leveled up to Enforcer 2, and the game was so bugged with the handlers that I just quit playing. I literally quit playing, went to go make music, and check out some of these songs I made. So after a week, I came back to the game and I realized that the locker problem that we previously talked about was coming to fruition, and it was shining a light now. Lockers aren't storage items. They are similar to beds. They are something that you can only assign NPCs to, something that you can only assign your workers to. They're only really useful for putting in money. And instead of lockers, we had to use actual storage racks. So I had to go and redo the entire barn. But anyways, now that I have this in mind, it restored some faith, and so I went out dealing, I unlocked customer Mac and Billy, and then I finished up the barn. While working on the barn, a tweaker ran up on us and scared us, so I sold to him and he left me alone. I mean, this guy was really addicted. I got the barn fully set up and I went to sleep. At this point, the meth operation was going at full speed. I went out delivering, unlocked customer Javier, went to sleep, and leveled up to Enforcer level 3. I went out dealing, unlocked customer Melissa, and went to sleep. Once again, I went out dealing. And remember that dealer that I kept on beating up over and over again, Brad? I realized that he worked fine. It's just that I gave him green level product of poor quality where it needed to be at least blue for him to sell more. So now that I gave him a higher level product, he sells it just fine. Anyways, I went to sleep, I went out dealing. Melissa recommended Jane as a dealer, so I went to hire her for 3,000. I went to sleep again and leveled up to Enforcer level 4. I went out dealing, getting hella XP, and we once again produced over $400,000 worth of product. I went to sleep and leveled up to Enforcer level 5. This once again is where the crazy grinding begins. I kept on going on and on by gaining XP, kept leveling up, kept dealing, and I unlocked the Coca seed dealer. Once I went to sleep, I leveled up to shot caller 1, I leveled up to shot caller 2, and throughout this time, I was just grinding trying to get 100,000 on our card balance. I kept on dealing, resupplying on pseudo, out dealing again, and I finally got up to 100,000 in the balance. I went to sleep, leveled up to shot caller 3, and here I bought the warehouse and taco ticklers to launder more money. The warehouse is just the storage, and taco ticklers is a laundering place. I went out dealing, started buying new things for the warehouse, ordered coca seeds, and this is where I spent my brain points trying to figure out how to make the most profitable cocaine farm. I went to sleep, I still spent more time trying to figure out the coke production. I went out dealing, went to sleep again, and leveled up to shot caller 4. I want to try making cocaine once so I can see the whole process and then min-max all of it with minions later down the road. So I grew and harvested coca leaves, put them in a cauldron, I cooked the coke base in a lab oven, went out dealing, got cocaine, and tried it out myself. Once I went through the whole process, I said screw it, I'm not gonna try to learn the entire way to min-max this, so I followed this guide from this YouTuber and set up plans to make the ultimate coke farm. But before that, we had to get some nice sleep. I kept building the coke farm, I went out dealing, went back to making the farm, finished it, and now we just need materials. I kind of min-maxed the barn a little bit, got more pseudo, and automated the barn even more. I went out dealing, went to sleep, and leveled up to shot caller 5. I kept on dealing, got my money up, installed the brick press in the barn, unlocked Suburbia, unlocked customer Karen, Hank, Jackie, Dennis, Jack, and Harold, and then leveled up to Block Boss level 1. It kind of glitched out. I think I leveled up halfway throughout the day, and then I was able to unlock the customers earlier, so this is just the way it happened. I kept grinding cash and trying to get that 1 million net worth achievement. I unlocked customer Carl, motel, went to sleep, kept grinding cash, and some guy recommended a dealer to me. I hired Wei Long for $4,000, went to sleep, and leveled up to Block Boss 2. I kept earning cash, unlocked customer Allison Knight, went to sleep, leveled up to Block Boss 3, and I kept on grinding cash non-stop. I kept grinding, and I decided that we should probably set up the warehouse as the main production for cocaine and then turn the bungalow into our mixing lab, so I hired 2 chemists and 3 handlers. I went to set up the bungalow, went to sleep, and leveled up to Block Boss 4. I kept on grinding cash, and I tried to make a new coke strain. We got one that sells for $700, and if we mark it up, we can actually sell it for the maximum price of $9.99, but we're gonna run into a very large issue here. I went to sleep, kept grinding cash, leveled up to Block Boss 5, and this is the issue. I disabled the bungalow coke mixing operation because it just doesn't make sense to do this right now. We should focus on meth until we're max level because we can't even sell the coke anyways. There's a certain amount of money that the customers have depending on what level you are. And plus, we need more staff within the bungalow, but we can't really get enough staff because it doesn't allow 10 workers, but we need 10 workers, so it's a whole headache, and I just would rather do meth. I kept grinding cash, and then I went to sleep. I restocked the cash for all employees, kept grinding, and here I attained a net worth of $1 million. This is our 8th achievement, and then I went to sleep and leveled up to Underlord 1. This is where unexpectedly the Cartel update dropped. Now if you thought this video was getting boring, I was kind of getting bored of the gameplay too, but little did I know Mr. Developer Tyler was dropping this banger, and so I loaded it up. I kept on laundering cash and selling drugs as usual. I kept on trying to make more money, but out of nowhere, our dealer Molly got jumped by Benzie goons and she lost all of the product. Now why am I getting so emotional about this? You know, maybe if they stole like $10,000 worth of things, not that bad, maybe even $20,000, whatever, right? They stole $200,000 worth of product. This is like a quarter of my net worth, so this isn't cool. As soon as this happened, I went to buy a pump shotgun and a bunch of ammo. Now for some reason, the guy that sold me the shotgun literally switched up on me and started shooting me, which made me think that he might be affiliated with the Benzie goons. I also bought an M1911, went to sleep, and leveled up to Underlord 2. Now I met up with the leader of the cartel and they have a business proposition. And they essentially told me that I'm gonna make quadruple less the money, I have to bring them product, and I can't deal to higher level customers. So I did not agree to team with them at all, which in turn, they got angry and they kept on robbing my dealers and jumping me. Now the way that we have to progress now is instead of leveling up, we have to lower cartel influence in areas by either marking spray paint, fending off attacks, or knocking out their dealers. While I was running around, the Benzies tried to jump Jane, but she didn't budge, and the Benzies stole all of my bricks from Wei Long. I backed off a cartel ambush, and then I went to sleep. I went dealing all day, kept grinding for money, went to sleep, and while doing the basics, once again, I got ambushed by cartel members, so I fought them off. I was hiding from the investigation team, which then ended up finding me, so I had to run. While I was chilling, the Benzies stole 9 bricks of meth from Molly, so this pissed me off again, and I kind of realized that I just shouldn't give my dealers a lot of product while the Benzies are still in power. So this is what I started doing. I started giving them less product, but I would just give it to them more often. I went to sleep, leveled up to Underlord 3. I sprayed my spray paint all over town, removed Benzie's influence fully in Westville, and then I ended up actually dying to a Benzie's ambush, causing us to restart the day. So once that happened, I kept on spraying to remove all the influence around downtown, and then I removed the Benzie's influence in that area. Here, after spraying over 25 cans, I unlocked another achievement, and then I went to sleep. Leveled up to Underlord 4, kept dealing, spraying, and restocking, went to sleep, leveled up to Underlord 5, I kept dealing, went to sleep, leveled up to Baron 1. As you see, this is a very common occurrence, very common process, a very repetitive gameplay loop. I kept grinding money, once again, survived a cartel ambush, I kept dealing, went to sleep, leveled up to Baron 2, did the same things over and over again, and I was just grinding cash and trying to get ambushed to bring down the cartel influence and unlock the final area of the game. I got ambushed by the cartel cartel and survived. I went to sleep, leveled up to Baron 3. I kept dealing, ordering dead drops to increase relationship with suppliers so I can order straight to my warehouse and barn. I got the coke dealer to deliver to the warehouse and got the pseudo dealer to deliver to the barn. I went to sleep and leveled up to Baron 4. I kept dealing. I died to the cartel once again. I hate when this shit happens. It's really a missed opportunity, and the amount of ambushes that you get, it's so rare that if you die, you kind of have to wait another 5 days before you can try to lower the cartel influence. I just kept on camping in certain areas where the cartel goons attack so I can remove the influence, and this took absolutely forever. I went to sleep, leveled up to Baron 5. I kept dealing, waiting for the cartel attacks, and I kept on doing the same thing over and over again. Finally, I was able to unlock Uptown by fending off cartel attacks. I went to sleep and I leveled up to Kingpin 1. This is where Uncle Nelson called us again at the phone and he told us how to get rid of the cartel for good. Uncle Nelson spoke, so I listened. I talked to Billy at the chemical plant. He needed 20 grams of cocaine for explosives, so I gave him the 20 grams and got the RDX explosive. I paid Sam $10,000 to dig the hole under the manor where we're going to plant the explosive. I took out Stan's thief, so Stan's made the bomb out of the RDX explosive. I went to sleep, planted the bomb at Hyland Manor, blew up Hyland Manor, and thus defeated the Benzie family. I unlocked Jen Hurd, went out dealing, went to sleep, and leveled up to Kingpin 2. I unlocked Herbert, once again doing the same things over and over again, kept dealing and trying to unlock customers. I unlocked Tobias, I unlocked Pearl, Michael, and Ray. I went to sleep, leveled up to Kingpin 3, bought the manor for $250,000, and I started setting it up. Michael, a customer, recommended me a dealer, so I looked into it, kept setting up the manor, and hired Leo, our very last final dealer, for $5,000. And then I went to sleep. After setting up the Hyland Manor, we are only now selling coke. This is the coke that sells for $9.99. It's a crazy profit. I think we make like $700 of profit on the cocaine. I went to sleep, leveled up to Kingpin 4. I kept dealing, unlocked Walter, and fully unlocked every single customer in the game. After dealing a little bit more, I went to sleep and leveled up to Kingpin 5, which is theoretically like the highest level within the game. We do get up to like Kingpin level 20 later down the road, but this is kind of where the game ends off. Now, I'm not saying that this is 100%. There's still a couple more achievements to get, but this is where the game really got boring. And if you watch anyone else's videos, this is where people just gave up on the game, or some people started to invite their friends to really quickly try to finish this off, because the end of the game is the same repetitive process. All you do is just deal, resupply, keep dealing, go to sleep. And so essentially this is all that I did for the next 20-30 hours. I leveled up to Kingpin 7, Kingpin 8. This is where the grind to 10 million really starts. Our net worth is like around 2 million or something, so we have a lot more to go. This is where I decided to get a new achievement, and I need to go pick up 500 pieces of trash all across town, put them into the trash machine, and get some money and get that achievement. So I kept doing that. I kept picking trash, kept selling, went to sleep, and I finally got that achievement for disposing the 500 pieces of trash. Now, once again, we just kept on going. Kingpin level 9, Kingpin level 10, Kingpin level 11. Around this time, we were maybe halfway. Our net worth was 5 million, but we still had a huge way to go. So I'll spare you all the boring parts. After around like 30 in-game days, we were at Kingpin level 34. We had a bunch of cash. We had a bunch of money on our debit card. We kept on laundering money the entire time. And after going to sleep, I unlocked the 10 million achievement. Once we did this, there was only one more achievement left. And this, I think, is quite an ironic one. You see, I never got arrested. This is one thing that just never occurred in the game. So as we finished the entire game, took over the entire town, became the most wanted person in all of Highland Point, I decided to turn myself in. I got arrested by the police, and that is the final achievement of Schedule 1. Drop a like on the video and consider subscribing to the channel. Peace out.